Hello everyone, Will the Outlaw here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers 07 movie line, Bumblebee. I have a very special soft spot for the original Transformers movie line. Watching the movie lit my dormant collector spark and made me fall in love with Transformers all over again. That is where I began my current collecting streak, starting with these Bumblebee figures. Bumblebee had two different looks in the film, and they are both represented here. He sported a 77 Camaro and a 2006 Camaro concept version alt mode. One thing I can say about the first movie line is that they really went out of their way to make the car modes look as close to the real thing as possible, and these are two of my favorite examples of that. The 77 version is very cool and is very accurate to the real life movie counterpart, right down to the custom painted paint job. Yeah, even after all these years, they still haven't really gotten those details right. Everything else is great though, the proportions are perfect and it makes for a pretty fun toy. The 06 concept version is way better in my opinion. What can I say, my dad had a 69 Z28 Camaro and I think this version more evokes that look. Anyway, the coloring on this one leans a little more towards the orange side of the spectrum. The clear windows also give it a little more depth, more so since, due to transformation, the doors can open. You see nothing but robot junk, but it's still a big deal, especially considering the time this came out. I also love the small details. The wheels are accurate and there are even tiny sharp Chevy logos all around the car, some that aren't even in the newer versions. The 07 figures had a line-wide gimmick called Automorph Technology, a gimmick in which there were transformation steps that were done automatically via spring-loaded or electronic parts. 77 Bumblebee had it in his chest and his legs. The rest of the transformation was very simple, and the robot mode we get is, well, very much a figure of its time. The robot mode is by far the weaker of the two, and boy, it's not even close. The proportions are all over the place with spaghetti limbs and feet that you would think help with stability, but you'd be wrong. His feet are huge, but all that mass is placed towards the front of the foot, leading to it not being able to stand very well. His joints are kinda loose, and that's not really due to age either. He's been this loose since I got him all those years ago, so I've mostly kept him in vehicle mode. Everything else is nicely done though. The details are sharp and plentiful right down to his license plate crotch. His head sculpt is based on early concept art and not at all accurate to the final screen model, but it's nice enough. Despite the weird proportions, the articulation is not too bad. Ball jointed head with a neck joint that can go forward and back, ball jointed shoulders, ball jointed elbows, wrist swivel, ball jointed hips, thigh cut, less than 90 knees, and a little bit of foot movement. He comes with these two launchers that act as, in vehicle mode, exhaust ports, and in robot mode can be hand wielded or placed on his shoulders. They look good no matter where you place them and add a lot of fun factor to this figure. In spite of his limitations, he's still a nice piece and is a pretty good desk toy. Comparing him to his modern counterpart, however, yeah, there's no contest here. Time has not been good to this particular bee. Transforming the 06 concept bee, even after all these years, is still a delight. The automorph on this one is brilliant and still works 17 years later. Just like the previous one, the automorph is in the legs and in the chest. This is so smooth and satisfying that I find myself going back and forth like it's a fidget toy. Peak engineering here. The robot mode is the best of what the deluxe price point was back then. He's big, chunky, and really solid despite being full of ball joints. He's not as screen accurate as I would have liked, but I can forgive that based on the fact that the look was also taken from early concept art and the utter complexity that they had to deal with in the models. His articulation is also pretty good. Ball jointed head with a neck joint that can go forward and back, ball jointed shoulders, bicep swivel, 90 elbows, ball jointed wrist, ball jointed torso, ball jointed hips, less than 90 knees, and toe articulation. He comes with this arm cannon that can transform into a blade weapon. Put this awesome accessory together with his posability and you get a great figure that I honestly think is better and more fun toy than his modern counterpart, especially the transformation. These figures are some of the first ones I got in my modern collection and I'm very proud to still have them. They hold up pretty well, despite their age and obvious outdated design choices. Bumblebee is one of my favorite movie designs and I found myself wanting to get the most accurate transforming figure I could get my hands on. Well, 10 years after the movie, we finally got the definitive movie Bumblebee figure, but I think I'll save that one for next time. All in all, these figures ushered in a new era of Transformers toys that we're still enjoying to this day, and despite being nearly 20 years old, they're still fun to mess around with. Bottom line, while the engineering doesn't hold a candle to modern standards, the DNA is clear here and there are still great pieces to have. Well, that was my look at the Transformers 07 movie line Bumblebees. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see y'all soon.
Laters!
Check out my Patreon for early access to my videos and shoutouts on future videos. Join up and let's talk toys.